There are a number of options for teams to be able to quickly look at each team's entries to make sure they are staying within the scope of the rules for entries for a dual meet, for an ASA meet. In order to quickly be able to check that information, teams should use the exceptions report feature found in Meet Manager once the entries have been imported for both teams into the system. In order to use that feature, if you go to Reports and select Exceptions Report, that will give you the option to select whichever session you would like. Select all of the sessions. In most cases for a dual meet, your template file is just going to have one session set up. In this case, to be able to check and see if we've exceeded the maximum number of entries per athlete, a good way to just give a random check to make sure teams are following just general guidelines. Max entries including relays should be 4. Max individual entries should be 2. Max relay entries should be 2. You can leave all these other items blank and sort by team. Make sure you've got both genders selected and then create the report. This will go through and search for situations where swimmers are swimming more than the standard allowed 2 individual events and 2 relays. If there's a situation where this has happened, it'll bring up a report that lists the swimmers off. And you can go through and do some detective work on your end. Please note that swimmers are allowed to swim more than 2 individual events and 2 relays as long as it's a balanced situation where each swimmer that is swimming more than 2 individual events in the first heat, they're permitted to do so as long as everyone in that particular age group, the 6 and under girls for example, or the 11 and 12 boys, each age and gender group where every swimmer in that age group has swum or been entered in at least 2 individual events in the first heat, then someone is permitted to swim a 3rd individual for points in the first heat. Once everyone in that particular age group has been entered in 3 individual events for points, then someone could be entered in a 4th individual for points, and so on up the line. So for example, you may have a situation where a swimmer may be entered in every single individual event because they may only have 1 swimmer in that age group or 2 swimmers. And again, as long as it's balanced, teams are staying within the scope of that rule. But this is a quick way for teams to just check each other's math and make sure that there are no lineup infractions in the lineup process. Again, this is advisable to do for every single dual meet, whether you're the home team or the away team. If you notice any discrepancies in the lineups, please contact the other team as soon as possible to resolve this matter. It's an easy thing to do, and usually if it happens, it's an honest mistake by the other team.